Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a few things. Please make sure that you keep yourself muted during the presentation. And any questions will need to go into the parking lot. And you can click on that link that will be put in the chat to open up the parking lot. And also, if you have any questions from yesterday, you can put them there as well. And I'm just going to wait one more minute for everybody to get in from the waiting room, and then we will move on. Just as another side note, the chat will be disabled. So again, please make sure you put your questions in the parking lot. Hope everybody's having a good morning and everybody's had lots of coffee. All right. I think everybody's in, so let's begin. All right, just as a reminder, Canvas assignments are due each day by 11:59 p.m. So if you have any questions or any problems, please use the Canvas inbox to let us know, and we'll be glad to answer you as quickly as possible. So today we're going to talk about using Canvas and best practices for online courses. And we're going to kind of do them as in good, better, and best. However, with COVID and since March, most of us have been doing all of these. Hopefully you're going to hear a few new things today so that you can start in the fall and bring in some new ideas. So my name is Paige Durham. I'm the instructional designer at Germanna Community College. There are lots of people who are going to be in the parking lot answering your questions. Terry Milroy from Southside, Forrest Smith from Germanna, Tim Hoffman from Rappahannock, Miriam Basinger from Blue Ridge, Melissa Stiltner from Southwest, David Todd from the System Office, and Sherry Prupus from the System Office. And I believe there are even more. So our agenda for this morning is going to be what are the LMS best practices. Then we're going to talk about creating instructor presence. Then we're going to talk about syllabus. What can it do and why? We're going to talk about grades and specifically in student feedback. Making sure your students have access to all your materials, availability, both course, module, and item. We're going to talk about creating a page with kind of what to do first for students. And then we're going to talk about creating some presence using Zoom, using Studio, Calendar, and if we have time, we'll throw in a little bit about Google. So what are the LMS best practices for the VCCS? They were created by ELIT and approved by ASAC in 2019. So here is a graphic that kind of gives you an idea of the basic, these are the best practices that were introduced to ASAC. So we talked about instructor presence and how to do it. So a welcome announcement, contact information, office hours, instructor interaction plan, grades, making sure that the LMS is used for grades for any modality, whether it be face-to-face, hybrid, or online, and how to use the grade book, and also posting grades in a timely manner. Well, what does timely manner mean? One of those things is, when can the students, and they should know from the syllabus how long it's going to take for them to receive a grade on any thing they submit. Syllabus, how to use the Canvas syllabus tool and how it is a roadmap and a contract for students. And then of course, just making your course available and then remembering that each component also needs to be available. And if you want to see the entire recommendation, there is a bit.ly. And again, this presentation and recording will be available to you on the ELIT webinar webpage. And that website was at the beginning and it will come again at the end. So now let's begin with good. So instructor presence, how to make yourself a human in an online world can be very difficult. So being present in your online course really helps engage the students. Many of our students are pleasers and they want to do what's best. However, if they feel like they're being taught by artificial intelligence or it's self-paced and there's no instructor interaction, it's very hard for them to engage in the content. Also, it encourages cooperation among students. It also active learning. So, and feedback is another way that you can encourage students to interact with you and the material. So you want to make sure that you give them very clear instructions regarding due dates, participation, what exactly is good participation, what does it look like, what should students be doing. Any student who is new to a fully online course may not understand exactly what is participation in that environment. You also want to provide clear expectations for student work. Again, rubrics, that's a great way to do that. And using multiple means of instructions, engagement, and assessment. So using the tools inside of Canvas to help provide that robust environment that students are seeking, and it is very possible in an online environment. So what does instructor presence look like? It's going to look like a welcome announcement that isn't your standard, that it is very personal. Faculty information. You have the very professional faculty information that is probably going to be in your syllabus, but you should also have a section where faculty information is things like hobbies and what do you like to do, and why did you decide to become an educator in higher ed, and what drove you there, and what are your passions. Virtual office hours. How can students have that one-on-one time with you? How are they going to let you know? And then a plan for interaction. So how long is it going to take a student to get a response if they send an email, or maybe they text you? And how long, what's the response time going to be? Personal feedback. So using the tools in SpeedGrader, such as the audio feedback option and the video feedback, so that they can see you as you're going over their assignment and explaining to them what was great and what they needed to work on. Being a participant. So how are you participating in your course? Are you participating in discussion boards? Are you participating in any groups? Those are things to think about. Also, providing your own videos for material. Rather than using content that you find on the YouTube, using Studio to create your own videos so that students see you in their course, providing them with the lessons that they need for that week. And also clear expectations. And again, the key in all of this is making that human factor in an online environment. So Canvas has a bunch of tools that allow you to do all of those things. So announcements, syllabus, Studio, a start here, begin here module, a faculty information page or section that is separate from the syllabus, and an introduction discussion. So now we're going to go over and take a look at what some of these tools look like inside of Canvas. Patient while I'm hoping that my computer is going to do what it's supposed to. Okay, so here you can see this is my dashboard in Canvas, and I'm just going to go into this training course. And your home page should be fairly standard and consistent for the students. This provides them with something that as soon as they land in your course, they know exactly where everything is. And doing that is easy if you have a standardized homepage. Some of the things that should be on the homepage are some navigational tips and exactly what they should click on next. So Let's start by going to an announcement. So in your announcements, when you post things, use the rich content editor to bring in images or avatars or GIFs, so that your students kind of get a sense of who you are and what you're all about. Make sure you give your topic title. Make it something that is catchy. Remember that you're not emailing your students with the announcements like we did in that other LMS, and that students need to have those notifications turned on. And if you feel that your students may not be receiving messages or announcements, or they don't seem to be engaging, maybe one of the announcements should be a link to a Canvas guide on how to turn on those notifications. In your introduction announcement, if you wanted to add an image, you just click here and you could either upload an image or you can find one using Unsplash, which is part of Canvas. If you click here, you can type in a search term and you have lots of choices. What's nice about using Unsplash is that it does load right into Canvas, and then you can resize the image to whatever you'd like it to be, and then you can put it wherever you'd like if it's in the center. And if you click on image options, now you can see what the alt text that comes as part of Unsplash. So if you wanted to change this, you could. You could also just choose to make it a decorative image if it's not really serving any purpose. After your image, you want to say something about maybe when the course is going to start. You may also say something in your welcome announcement about the course is available to you now. The actual start date is a few days from now. I will not respond to any questions or grading until the course actually starts, but feel free to take a few days to look around the course. The other thing you want to think about is your preferred communication. In your welcome statement, you're going to say maybe something about, I answer fastest to email or text, and then you could give them your email and your texting number. I use a Google Voice number for texting so that students don't have my actual cell phone number. You also want to talk about your office hours and how they're going to find them and where they're going to be. And then you also want to say, put your instructor interaction plan. So what exactly do you plan on interacting? So are they going to have times during the week when they meet synchronously? If they are, you want to tell them that in this welcome announcement. You also want to tell them if they're going to receive feedback and how many days out after they submit something they can expect to find something. So there's a lot to think about in this. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about posting that welcome announcement and what you're going to include. And you can go into your sandbox and you can put in things like just a kind of an outline. So later you can go back and add all the details. So in your Canvas sandbox or in a course, you're going to post a welcome announcement. You're going to put in a short intro. You're going to also put in a course start date, your preferred communication, your virtual office information, so whether it's times or where they're going to find it, a few more images, and your instructor interaction. So this is kind of an outline so that you can go back and later add all of the details to this. So I'm going to switch screens. Now I'd like for you to go and do that brief outline. Put in a welcome announcement and add the outline of a short intro, start date, preferred communication, your office location, hours, options, however you want to word that, some images and instructor interaction plan. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes. Ready, set, go. All right. Welcome back, and let's move on. To summarize, so building your course and building in that instructor presence in the setup of your modules as you're going over things, thinking about how you're going to insert yourself into that online environment. Providing feedback, encouraging participation, moving a discussion forward, all of those things are the facilitation part. And then of course your direct instruction is your pre-developed presentations, assessing student work, concepts, and allowing students to have practice opportunities using the draft feature or for an assignment or things like that, or having peer reviews. So next, it is all about the syllabus. So the syllabus tool in Canvas can provide you with ways, for example, the course summary that is automatically populated by your assignments and your due dates. But it is a tool, but it doesn't have to just be the tool. It can be an image. It can be what you see. And here is actually from a design tool with some sections and what should be included. And thinking about how your syllabus is organized. So your course description obviously is provided by the VCCS. Then you have objectives. You want to make sure you have both course objectives and module objectives. And if you have a very, very, very long list, you can always take that list and put it on a separate page and then link it inside the syllabus. Contact information, extremely important. Are there any prerequisites? So how is the course organized? So explaining your modules. Are they organized by week? Are they organized by unit? Or are they organized by topic? One of the things that you don't want to see in your modules area is anything along the lines of a module named assignments, a module named quizzes, and a module named reading. Your modules need to be all content grouped together. So what is the student supposed to do in step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many, and in order in a module. They should not be looking all over the course for anything that goes with that. You want to think about the technology requirements. So now that we're all online, are there specific things that they need to be aware of? How do they get them? Academic misconduct. Now that may be an institution policy, so you can include a link to that. What happens if the college closes? Well, we're all in an online environment now, so that may not be applicable, but you want to put that as well. I always loved it when my students would ask about snow days in an online class, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure that that means you still have class. So your grading policy and grading scale, you want to talk about course activities as far as late work, incomplete work, class withdrawals, and then of course you want to make sure that you have a link to institutional policies. So now let's go over and take a look at some sample syllabi. Okay, so this is an example of a syllabi that was I found on the internet, but I really like the way that it's laid out. It's very visually appealing, and it has all the necessary things. Notice that this person has taken this and put it in a very graphically oriented kind of thing. And what they did, if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, is you can see that they use something called Pictochart. So there is a way to create this very visually appealing syllabus that hopefully will draw students in so that they read it and they understand what the requirements of them are. And notice in here there is a staff instructor response time, as well as a grading, this is a beautiful way for students to visually see how the course is broken up into percentages. And so if you weight your grades, that pie chart is a great way for them to see it. Also notice that the module sequence is listed here. So you can see exactly what is going on and when, so that everybody understands that each of those comes in a linear fashion. Now let's take a look at another syllabus. So here is a syllabus for SDV course. So it has the course description, and there's an additional course description with prerequisites. General education outcomes have been added. Course objectives, materials, organization and delivery, contact information, and there's lots here. Communicating with the instructor. What do I require? This is my syllabus. So how should I expect students to get in contact with me? What is my preferred communication? That's listed here, as well as on the Start Here page. Announcements. What are they there for? How are students going to be, how are they going to use the announcements? What can they expect from an announcement? Then we're going to talk about attendance policies. In an online environment, that needs to be very clear. I use submissions for assignments as verification that they are attending. Viewing a page in Canvas or just logging in is not considered attendance, and I go over this with the students very clear in a video. grading policy and grading scale. Then course activities and assignments. It explains what they're going to do as far as late work, dishonesty, incomplete, withdrawal. Are there proctored requirements? There aren't any proctored requirements, but that should be part of the syllabus if you do have proctored requirements. And then of course the syllabus modification. Then we have some very basic Canvas and technology information, and a diversity statement. And then here you see the course summary. So there are lots of things that can be included in the syllabus. So I would like for you to take a look at some syllabi on the internet. If you don't use the syllabus tool at your institution, you can still use a page. You might want to think about some of the parts that we listed, and you might want to, again, like we did with the announcement, maybe you want to build that rough outline. Maybe there's some things that I mentioned that you don't have in your syllabus, but you feel like you should add. So you might want to make note of that. So I'm going to give you another little activity. And again, take the time to put yourself some notes in the syllabus area on what you should include, what's missing, what do I need to add, and you might want to put that picto chart down and that you want to go back and look that up so you could make it very visually as an image, not just as a whole pile of text. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about that syllabus area and how you want to modify and amend. Okay, let's keep on moving. So now grades. Is it really about letters and numbers? No, it's just really a way for students to figure out where they stand, what they're missing, and what they need to spend more time working on. So looking at the Canvas gradebook, you can view it different ways. You can look at a history, you can arrange it differently, you can do by modules, you can do by due date, you can filter it so you only see certain groups, and you can move the columns around. You can also put in a notes column, and then you can also see whether or not your unpublished items are in the gradebook, or if you don't want to see them, there's a way to turn that off. So for Students, an online gradebook, especially the fact that the students aren't seeing you regularly in a classroom, is really a gauge for them on how they're doing. So keeping it up to date allows them to see their progress and also gives them immediate results. So if they take a quiz and they have immediate feedback, they know exactly how they did and what they need to work on. They can find those grades at any time, anywhere, especially if they're using the Canvas student app. And for you as the Canvas, using the Canvas teacher app, you can grade whenever it suits you from wherever you'd like to grade. It improves student performance because they can see those results immediately, and that information is still very fresh in their mind, so that they may be able to retrain their thought about a certain idea or topic, so that the next time the question comes up, they understand where they went wrong. And it eliminates the risk of a paper gradebook being lost or being locked in a car, or the dog chewed it up, whatever. For you as an instructor, it gives you multiple places to access the material. So you can look at SpeedGrader and you can look at the gradebook. It's easy to update. It keeps track of the assignments for you as far as when things are turned in, when things are late, or when things are missing. It does keep track class analytics, so you can see how students are doing in certain areas. It provides you with a place for feedback, both written as well as audio and video. It helps you think about any materials for the next time you offer the course. Maybe there was a certain area that all the students missed. So by taking a look at those grades, and maybe the next time your course is offered, you would add a new section that would cover that material a little bit better. So now we're going to take a look at the Canvas gradebook, which I'm sure all of you spend a ton of time in. So looking at the Canvas gradebook, this may take a minute. There happens to be lots of assignments in this particular course. So the first thing that you're going to see is that there are some unpublished assignments here, which is a good way for you to either go and find those assignments and either remove them completely from your course, or to publish them. So you can also decide if you don't want to see them. You can turn that off. Maybe, there we go. You can also decide how you're going to arrange it. So again, modules or assignment names or due dates. You have all of those choices, and you can go forwards and backwards. You can also just grab a column and drag it to change it. Sometimes it takes a second for it to work. And then you also can look at how your students, how your students are arranged if you click on the three dots. So you can sort by name, secondary information. You can also look at inactive and concluded enrollments. So you have lots of different things that you can do. If you have different sections, then you can also view by section. You can filter either by assignment group or modules or sections. And if you have different sections, when you choose that, it's going to show up right here to the left of the search bar. You also have the cogwheel over here, which talks about late policies and grade posting policies. You can choose to use these if you wanted to, so automatically apply deduction to anything that is late, so you don't have to try to keep up with that. But Canvas does also color it for you, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out when something was late or missing. So now I'm going to pop back over to, so any assignment that you create is going to end up in the gradebook. And also in your assignments, if you choose to have your assignments weighted, you're going to do that in the assignments area of the course. And this is also going to provide some total columns at the end of your gradebook so that students can see each column's percentage and how much, what their grade is in that specific group. And there's another tool, if you want to now edit assignment dates, you can do that all in one place by clicking on the edit assignments, and then it's going to load all of your assignments, and you can apply available to and from dates as well as change the due dates all in one place. So now that you see these things, you may have students email you and say, hey, I don't see that. Where's that assignment? I can't find my course. So I had a faculty member email me yesterday and say that she didn't see her courses. However, they were there. They just happened to be not on her dashboard. So some things when you're thinking about publishing, you want to make sure that you don't just publish the course. You publish each area of the course as well as each item within the modules. So that means if you want a certain item to be hidden from students until you turn it on, then you can publish the entire module, and then you can unpublish that item. Once students complete any work, you may not unpublish the course. You also cannot unpublish the assignment. And if you wanted to change it or go back and add anything or to the assignment, you're actually going to have to delete the assignment and then give it something new. You would have to do something different to it and then add it back to the course. So the other thing you want to think about is adding a start date and end date if they are not supplied for you under your settings, so that students either can have access to the course early, and then you can choose whether or not it is read only or if they can participate. And you can do that by checking the boxes that are underneath the settings area. So let's go over and look at what those things look like. In your settings area, if you click on this, and you scroll down, you're going to have some start and ends boxes that may be filled in. However, you do have boxes underneath, so students can only participate between those dates. You can also restrict the students from viewing the content after the date or before the date. You can also decide whether or not, let me scroll down, you can decide how many announcements you want to show on the home page or none. You can also notice that you have options here for a student's discussions, so you may want to do that. You also will want to hide grade distribution graphs, and you can decide whether or not you want your students to comment on announcements. So when you are thinking about fall, you might want to think about summer or spring and make sure that you have checked the start and end date of those courses. And if they're still available to students, you may want to choose to restrict them. If you're missing courses and you can't find them and you know you're in them for the fall, make sure you go over to the courses section and then click on that, and then scroll down, click on all courses, and make sure that your fall courses are starred so that you will see them in your Canvas dashboard. So all of those things are good. But now let's talk about better. So think about including an announcement as well as a video about your course and how to get around, and maybe a course tour, your syllabus, what's in it. You want to think about a Start Here module. What's in the Start Here module? a Start Here page, for example, an introduction discussion board. And then you want to also think about a home page, if it's not provided to you, that would provide your students with the exact information that they would need on how to get started in your course. So let's take a look at a Start Here module. Right, so if I click on modules, I actually have a module that is just for instructors. So here I have a Start Here page, and it has my faculty information, contact policy, and here's some steps that students can take to make sure that they are heading in the right direction. So what are again, it's a reminder for the syllabus, what materials they need, institutional policies, technical requirements, academic integrity, etiquette, and communication expectations. All of these things are maybe repeated from the syllabus, but again, it kind of highlights what the student is expected to do. So the next thing that students would find is a printable course schedule. And so that they would know exactly the due date, when things are due, and they could print this from here, but it's here, at least it's also just an exact duplicate of what's under the syllabus in the course summary. Then I actually added, because this is an SDV course, how to turn on Canvas notifications to make sure that students were receiving all of the important information from Canvas. Then there is an introduction of myself and a course tour video that I made using Studio. I also, because this is a page and there's nothing really for students to complete, I did make it a to-do. So it shows up on the calendar so that they know that they need to take a look at it. As well as I gave them a little information, and what I do with this is I choose to check out the insights on the Studio video, see who watched it, and then I will call them out in an announcement as my rock stars for the week. After the course tour, they have a little Canvas student orientation that you can find in the Canvas Commons that will kind of walk them through how Canvas works. And then there's a quiz, and then we have activities, and then there's specific course information. I also have requirements on this module. So you can see underneath there's view, and these are contribute, score at least, or just submit, so that students know exactly what they need to do. So if you are not sure what should be included in a Start Here page, if you click on the Canvas Commons, and you go to the search bar and you type in Germanna Start Here, you can actually find a Start Here page that was created for Germanna that you can put in your course and then customize for your needs. You can delete sections or add sections, but it does give you an idea of kind of where to start. And finally, let's get to the best things that in Canvas, and also they're the most fun. So everything that we've talked about is a best practice, and here are the final things for this session. So an online web conferencing tool with instructions on how and when to access it. So a video introduction, which I just went over. Due dates in the calendar. So those are all, the calendar is populated simply by the due dates that you put in assignments. And then you want to think about any kind of collaborative activities. So if you noticed in the what's due and when course syllabus printable one, that was a Google Doc that I embedded. You can do the same thing with other Google Suite things that students would be able to access and collaborate on. So Studio is the tool that you find on the global navigation bar that will allow you to screen share, and you can videotape anything that's going on your screen, as well as a webcam, so you can have yourself as part of the screen share, and you can move that box around. You can decide whether or not you want to use that for going over papers or anything like that. Within Studio, you have the ability to allow commenting, so you can put comments in at certain points in the video, as well as students. And then you can also add quizzes. You can see the analytics by using the insights. You can take an MP4 that you have from somewhere else and upload it to Studio. You can also use YouTube and then make it a quiz. And then the other thing that is great is that Studio will caption things for you. Now, I hope that my computer is going to be happy with me today, and it's going to load Studio. So here we are in Studio, and now you have the ability to add a collection. So think of that as a folder, and you can organize by class or topic. Here's a video, and I'm just going to click on this. And this I know is in a course, and however, I have lots of people always ask about the insights and that they say they don't see their students. However, the key is above this, you're going to see My Library. And if you click on that, you're going to notice now I have two options. If I click on the course, it actually ties the insights to the students in the class so that you can see kind of what's going on. If you notice, there's a big gap here. So if I click on a certain student, I'm going to see that that student didn't watch any of it, and I'm going to see this student did, but skipped this entire section. I also can add the captioning. If I go here, I actually already requested these, so now I would need to go back and review what's here. And I could publish, and you can see that it is, obviously it heard SDV as Stevie Wonder 101, so I can go back in and highlight that. And save it and publish it. You can also at any point come back in and edit. So I'm just going to go ahead and publish that, and then if I want to, I can come back. If I go to details, that allows me to change the name of the video. So we're in Zoom. So if I were using Zoom in a class, how would I let my students know? Where would I put the information for that Zoom meeting? Would I put it in, I would put it in the syllabus, I put it in the start here, I may put it in the module, I would put it on the calendar, and think about using any of the tools within Zoom. So you're thinking about whiteboard and your screen annotation and polling and chat and breakout rooms, and all of those things tied together make a very engaging experience for the students. So you can also invite in guest lectures. You can put your PowerPoints in. I have an instructor who is using Zoom without any students and putting up virtual backgrounds and dressing in costume to talk about historical events, and that's how he's going to present topics, so that he's recording them in Zoom and then he's putting them in Studio, captioning them, and then adding them to a Canvas course. So again, this is the way you are going to have synchronous sessions with your students. So again, Zoom is a great tool. And it is very easy for students to use because they can use it on a computer or they can have an app and use it on their phone. So now the calendar. So we're talking about events, appointments, and due dates. So if you wanted to add that Zoom virtual class or virtual office hours to your calendar, you could do it this way. So if you're in the calendar, you can click on the plus at the top, which is going to give you 3 options: add an event, a to-do, or appointment group. For the sake of office hours, you are going to choose appointment group. So from here, there are several things obviously on the screen, and there's a lot of text. So again, you will get a copy of the slides, so you can use this as a tutorial to set up your own appointment groups. You're going to give it a name, a location, and in the location, that's where you would put your Zoom link. Calendar, that means which class or classes do you want that appointment group associated with. And then the time range. So if I wanted to have office hours available from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. On Tuesdays, and I want to allow students to sign up for a 20-minute slot, then you can ask Canvas to divide up that 2-hour slot into 2-hour time period into 20-minute slots. And then you can also have options whether or not you want to allow multiple users to enter the same appointment, or if they can make multiple appointments. And in the details area, you're going to want to put a little bit more information on, click on the link, here's the Zoom, you know, what to expect. And then when you publish it, students will be able to see it automatically on their Canvas calendar. Once you've made the appointment group, you do have the ability to edit by clicking on an appointment in the Canvas calendar and then choosing group details. You also can look at the appointments that you have. You can see who signed up. You can create more days and times. You can change some options, and you can message students who either have signed up for appointments or who have not. And then you can see, you can also delete appointments. So now let's take a look at actually what this looks like in Canvas. Again, this will be shared with you in the Canvas course. Okay, so here we are in the Canvas calendar. And if I click on the plus, here it allows me to have my choices. I'm going to choose appointment group, give it a name. I don't have a Zoom link, but I would just copy my Zoom link here and put it in here. Then the calendar. So let's say I want to have it for this class and another class. If you do not see one of your classes listed in this dropdown, then you do not have it checked over on the side on the right, and I'll show you where that is in just a second. So then I want to decide what day it's going to start on. I want to put a time range in. I want to make these 15-minute, and then if I click go, Canvas automatically creates each individual appointment in a 15-minute slot, and I don't have to type in all of those times. I can decide if I only want one person, and then I can uncheck that box, and then if I click, oh wait a minute, yeah, if I click publish, takes a little time. I scroll down to next Monday, you can see here are the appointments, and you notice that they're kind of not bold. Once a student has signed up for those, they actually turn into the other very dark color so that you know who has signed up. You can also click on them, and then you would be able to see who signed up, and you could message the student. If you don't see your classes in the drop-down list, if you come over here to your calendars, you need to make sure that you have put a color by whatever course it is that is missing. So if it's something is missing, you might want to check and make sure that the box is colored in. For the last few minutes, I'm just going to talk to you briefly about using Google. So inside of Canvas, you can embed forms, docs, slides, sheets, sites, and you have Drive, of course, attached to your Canvas account. You have unlimited storage. You can share folders. You can share documents. Students can build their own websites or a personal portfolio. So there are so many different things that you can use inside of Canvas. So for wrapping up, we talked about good, instructor presence, syllabus, grades, publishing the course, better, how to get started, intro discussion, a meeting schedule. Then we talked about best. So we talked about using Studio and Zoom and the calendar. I hope that everyone got something out of this session, and I look forward to seeing you inside the Canvas course. And again, as we are moving up the light bulb, we've now talked about taking the content and objectives, building modules, and we've talked about activities that support those objectives. And now we talked about the tools in Canvas that allow us to create that presence and that connection and that engagement for students. Please let us know how we did by completing the survey. And again, the recording and slide deck will be available to you inside the Canvas course, as well as on the edtech.vccs.edu website. And I hope everyone has a super day, and I will see you all online soon.